Hey, what's up, everybody? Um, we don't exactly have anybody on quite yet. Oh boy, there's a dog barking. Um, well, welcome for those who are watching on the replay to Sound Lab Studios. Today we're starting a brand new series. This is going to be Album of the Year. Gonna just kind of be early morning Saturday series. Not exactly meant for everybody to watch live. There's not going to be any copyrighted music in this one, so it'll be up for replay. This is here we go. Just a second. There's Nick. How's it going, Nick? So there he is. Hey, how's it going? So this series is album of the year. We're gonna do it every Saturday, 9 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock his time. Just kind of going over our three favorite albums of each year, going from 1965 to 1989, going giving out bronze award, silver award, and then gold award is going to be like our favorite album of that year. And we're also going to give some honorable mentions just to kind of talk about other albums that we wish we could have included but didn't quite make the top three. So we don't have anybody watching right now, but it's early in the morning. So I'm kind of mainly wanting to do this for the replay later on. It's just easier to broadcast live.
Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, screw these headphones then.
Okay, cool.
They're just being garbage.
Okay, so how this is going to work, if we could have Nick, you're going to say your number three choice. I'll say my number three choice. You say your number two choice. I'll do my number two choice. You talk about some honorable mentions. I'll talk about some honorable mentions, and then we'll say our top album of 1965.
Okay.
Cool. So if you could go ahead and get things underway with number three.
My number three is The Yardbirds for Your Love. This was their debut album, 1965. Mm, it has obviously the big hit song For Your Love, uh, but the rest of the album is really good. I'm Not Talking is really good. Putty in Your Hands is really good. Sweet Music, which was produced by Manfred Mann, another
Oh,
British
cool.
Asian artist. Good Morning Little Schoolgirl is my personal highlight of the album, and My Girl Sloopy ends it off, and just this whole album's really good. Kind of like a bluesy pop. It's just like a mixture of almost a lot of
Mm.
things in this. It's
Isn't
really
that where Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin got his start? The Yardbirds.
yes, but not now.
Is
His
it
last
who was it?
really changed.
It was either Jeff Beck or Eric Clapton was playing at that time, I think.
He was Eric Clapton was with the Yardbirds, but only
Okay.
for a few songs on this particular album. Jeff Beck stood with them for the next two albums, and then Jimmy Cage replaced him on
Okay.
this album.
Because if I remember correctly, Jeff Beck is where he got his famous dragon Telecaster from, but he painted the dragon on it himself. Like first he just put some mirrors on it, and then he painted the dragon on it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's interesting. It's crazy how much artists started from this singular band.
Yeah.
That's why I
Uh,
wanted to listen to them, and I'm like, wow, this is a great album. Their whole
uh,
discography is really good. They only had like 4 albums.
I'm going to confess something. If I do not list your favorite album of 1965 even as an honorable mention, it's because most likely I haven't listened to it yet. Uh, my number three album of 1965 is. Let's see if I can get that up. There we go. The Beach Boys Today. A little teaser for tomorrow's stream at 4:30. Um, we're going to be ranking the Beach Boys album. Heads up, this one gets a good score. But this is basically to Pet Sounds as Rubber Soul is to Sergeant Pepper. It's definitely this is where the Beach Boys become the Beach Men, basically. There's some really good pop songs on here. Oh, hey, Briar. I'm not going to be able to click on comments today but I do see that you commented there. Anyway, Brian Wilson has finally broken off from his father, who was abusive, and is able to produce the album in the way he'd like. They're done writing songs about going to the beach and seeing girls and cars. At least on this album, they do that again on their next album. But there's "Do You Want to Dance," sung by Dennis Wilson. That's good. "Good to My Baby." "When I Grow Up to Be a Man" is really good, with some really grown up questions for guys as young as they were then. We got the original version of "Help Me Rhonda," which is longer and has a lot of fake fade outs, which I actually like this version better. I believe it was Al Jardine's first lead vocal for the Beach Boys.
No,
Uh,
it's actually from the Christmas album. He sings on Christmas Day, I believe.
oh, okay. So it's his second one, his first non Christmas song.
Yep.
Um, and then "Dance, Dance, Dance" is a fun song. Then you flip the record over, and they're like the second side, other than the very last track, is like really good. It's like this is where you can really hear where Pet Sounds is going to come in. "Please Let Me Wonder," "I'm So Young," "Kiss Me Baby," "She Knows Me Too Well," and "In the Back of My Mind" are all really great songs. And then the record producers just had to throw on this fake interview at the end because they thought it's not going to sell unless we have some kind of goofy thing at the end. So
Yeah, I know. So stupid.
I know they could have thrown in like something else. Like they couldn't have just written another song. I don't know, but still my number three album of 1965.
Yep. My number two is going to be Rubber Soul. We all knew Rubber Soul was going to make it on the list. This is
Yeah,
whether it be two or one. This is just a masterpiece of an album. Drive My Car, really good. Norwegian Wood, one of the best Beatles songs ever made. You Won't See Me, another great song. Nowhere Man, another one of those songs is like, wow, like I don't even know how to rank. I don't even know how to even put this. It's like so great. This you could like there's like so many top 10 Beatles songs you can make. It's not even funny. Think for yourself. It's a great track. The Word, it's another great track. Michelle, um, I thought it was a great song, but when I was driving back from work the one day and I was listening to the U.S. Rubber Soul and I heard this song, I'm like, wow, this really is a great song. From like,
here's the thing. Not to interrupt, but like here's the thing about Rubber Soul. It's one of those albums where you can take the U.S. and the U.K. version.
yeah,
Because like for some British artists, I like the U.S. versions better, and for some, I like the U.K. versions better. Like Beatles, UK all the way. Other than Rubber Soul, I also like Yesterday and Today, and Beatles '65 might be a slight improvement over Beatles for Sale.
yeah,
But then like I like most of the U.S. Stones albums better. But for the Beatles, it's mostly UK, other than this one.
awesome. Side two opens up with what goes on. It's not one of my favorites. Kind of like one of my least favorite Beatles songs, but with such a great catalog, you're bound to make one dud at least one time.
Number 9.
Girl is another great song by John. I'm looking through you. It's so rocking. It's more rocking than you expect from Paul McCartney at the time. In my life, it's one of the greatest Beatles songs of all time, if not one of the best songs of all time. Wait, such a great song. I love Wait. If I Needed Someone, one of George's best early tracks, like pre Sergeant Pepper tracks. I love it a lot. Uh, I prefer the Hollies version like a teensy bit better, but trust me, it's very unusual for me to say a Beatle cover is better than the original Beatles song.
Mm.
Really rare. Run for Your Life. It's a goofy way to end off the album, but it's so fun. It's so goofy that it's hard to hate it.
Okay, well, my number 2 album of 1965 comes with a question. How does it feel? So, my number 2 album of 1965 is Highway 61 Revisited by Bob Dylan. This album is really good. It's my favorite Dylan album. It has some of his most classic songs on it, like a Rolling Stone and The Ballad of the Thin Man. And Desolation Row, can't forget about that one. But Like a Rolling Stone was one of the first songs that was played on the radio that was over 5 minutes long. It was like 6 minutes long. They had to spread it across both sides of a 45 single. That you played half of it on one side and half of it on the other side. And DJs were only supposed to play the first side, but then they would ignore what the radio station told them, and they'd play the full thing. And that kind of got Bob Dylan a lot of exposure to write longer songs. Tombstone Blues is also really good. Speaking of which, the guy playing organ on this and piano is actually Al Cooper, who was the producer for Leonard Skinner. So, if you want to know how Bob Dylan relates to Leonard Skinner, that's how. Um, the Ballad of the Thin Man is one of my favorites on here, also known as Mr. Jones. That's a really cool song. I like the kind of creepy sound to it, and I like the way he sings Mr. Jones. And like the lyrics on all of these songs are really good and tell really great stories. Highway 61 Revisited, just like Tom Thumb's Blues. And then you have the perfect way to end this album with Desolation Row. So, really, really great album. Spoiler, this is on my top 35 favorite albums of all time list. But great album for 1965. I wish it could be the number one album, but unfortunately, the Beatles released two albums that year, so one of them is gonna win. So
I always forget Help is 1965. Well, now that you mentioned it, that's gonna be one of my honorable mentions. Help. I love Help. It's an amazing album. Can't go really too deep into it. It's just an honorable mention, but it is really an amazing album. Find it. Go Now by the Moody Blues. This is the U.S. version of their debut album, The Magnificent Moodies. I've just recently listened to this one. I prefer it over the UK version. Has better songs on it. Has From the Bottom of My Heart, which is one of the best early songs I've listened to so far. Highway 61 Revisited. I have the album, but I couldn't find it for the life of me, so I'm just gonna look at the one that he has right now. All the songs on there are really good. I just three albums is pretty limited. So
yes.
So all the songs, and my favorite track on the album would be the last track, Desolation Row. That's my favorite track of the album. Another one I'd say is the Hollies US Here Here. It's the US version of their third LP. This is like one of the few cases where I actually side with the US release, as two big songs on here, I'm Alive and Look Through Any Window. Not only that, but it took Fortune Teller, which is not one of my favorite tracks of theirs. And it sucks that they got rid of Mickey's Monkey, which is the last track on the album on the UK version, but I'm Alive and Look Through Any Window, such two great songs by them. So there you go. I don't have, actually I do have the album. King's Controversy, another 1965 album. I was gonna have it as my number 3, but
that's another band that I need to get into this year. Now that I have their greatest hits, I can listen to their greatest hits, kind of get a feel for that, and listen to some of their albums. I'm planning on doing Pink Floyd first, and then Paul Simon.
Okay.
Maybe Fleetwood Mac.
Rush into it. But there's just like a track or two that I really don't like on this album, so that's the reason why it's not my number 3 spot. But I was really close to putting this at number 3. Mm-hmm. Mr. Tambourine Man, I don't have. It's by the Byrds. It's their first album. Very influential. It's like, even on the back of the CD I have, it's like, this is like one of the first albums with no filler on it, which back then that's unusual because, it's the singles and then all the filler. But
yeah,
it like one of their songs influenced George Harrison with the riff of If I Needed Someone, and I thought that was pretty cool. Lovin' Spoonful, Do You Believe in Magic? This is also their debut album. I really love it. These were going to be the original Monkees, but Zal right here, they want him deported. They wanted him out of the band. They didn't do that, and they wanted them to change the name to the Monkees, and they're like, we don't want to change our name. It's for the better because we've got the Monkees now.
Yeah, so you got both.
And my last shout out is going to be for Beach Boys Today. I agree with everything Garrett said. This was like one of the first few albums with the pet sound to it. The Christmas album side 2 of that has that sound, but like this one is like continuing off of that. And then the next album did, but then the party album kind of like stopped that, but then Pet Sounds came out. I was like,
Yeah, Summer Days and Summer Nights kind of musically is a progression, but then lyrically is kind of a step back. And then
yeah,
Party is like, this is just, I don't even know if that would be considered like, it is one of their albums, but I don't really consider it like a studio album. I feel it's like a one off album that's like, oh, hey, here's the Beach Boys having a party.
you know why they made the album like that?
Why?
Because it was around December and they wanted them to make another Christmas album, and they
Ooh.
didn't want to make another Christmas album, so they did that instead.
Breyer says he needs to get albums from 65. Okay. Any other honorable mentions?
That's about it.
Okay,
Maybe Summer Days, and that's it.
I don't have as many. Out of Our Heads by the Rolling Stones. That's a good one. It's got I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Play with Fire. This Could Be the Last Time. Some really great covers like Have Mercy, Hitchhike. It's a really good album. My Generation by The Who. Early R&B album for them. It's got My Generation and The Kids Are Alright. That's a good one. There was a third one. Oh yes, Help by the Beatles. That's a really great album, but it did not quite make my top 3, and I think that's going to be about it for me.
All right, my number one. You were expecting it. It was a mix of
Yeah,
Rubber Soul and My Generation. Trust me, it was very hard for me. I was like, this has this has that. It took me a while to like really come up with a verdict, but then I listened to one, then I listened to the other. I'm like,
and I couldn't choose the Who Sings My Generation, the U.S. version, because that didn't come out until 1966. So
yep. So I'm gonna have to go with the UK version. My Generation. Out in the street, such a great challenging song with Roger doing his awesome R&B voice. Same with I Don't Mind. We did a stream with Trey this week, I believe, this Monday, and I paired the Moody Blue version and the Who version.
yeah, I saw that. I didn't like the Moody Blues version.
Me
It's like
neither. I just
it's like they
wanted,
added beats to it.
yeah, they. I would have been surprised if people went with the Moody Blues version over it. I don't like the version, but I just wanted to see what other people thought about it.
Yeah, a few people actually voted for it, and I was surprised. But
Me too. I was like, really?
most
Like
people went with.
maybe it's just diehard Moody Blues fans. Who knows?
I don't know.
The Good's Gone is such an amazing track.
The Good's Gone.
I like the way he sings. It's like the Good's Gone, like
Singing in his way low register.
not only that, but the guitar riff is just like so out of there. Like it's like it's unheard of at the time. Like hearing a guitar riff like that. "La La 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 Lies" is a great pop song.
I like that one.
They do great pop songs. "Much Too Much" is another fantastic song. It's like I said in my review, it's my least favorite out of the 6 songs, but it's still a great song. My Generation, everyone knows it, everyone loves it. It gets its recognition for a reason. Flip over to side 2, and then The Kids Are Alright comes on. And it's I prefer the UK version of the song where it's a little longer because of how great the song is. Please, Please, Please is it's kind of like the what goes on of this album. Like that's what made me want to like think between this one and the other one. I'm like do I really like Please Please Please? And then I listen to it again. I'm like, it's actually pretty good. It's Not True. I love it. I'm not half Chinese either, and I didn't kill my dad. Really
Kind
fun.
of funny lyrics to that song.
I'm a man. I know you don't like it personally, but it grew on me.
That is the sole reason I like because that's kind of the biggest difference, other than they use the single version of Kids Are Alright. That's the reason I like the U.S. version better, is because I like Instant Party a lot better.
Yeah, me too. Um, yeah, even Pete Townsend said like this is garbage. Like we wanted to make like a first LP of like just R&B covers, and we changed our minds and we used some of it. Like I don't mind, please, please, please. And I'm a Man were originally going to be on a first album. They were making a
Hmm.
good first album full of R&B covers, and
Well,
they
the two James Brown tracks on there are actually pretty good. It's just the "I'm a Man" song is like, I don't know. It's like the same riff over and over again. He's just like, "I'm a man, hey,
I
I'm a man."
prefer the Yardbirds version actually. It's
Mm.
on their next album, which most likely would be one of my honorable mentions. Um, A Legal Matter. It's another like weird. It's like another like funny song with like really weird lyrics. Uh, the Ox. My personal either my personal favorite track off the album or my second personal favorite track off the album. It's a mix up between The Kids Are Alright or that. It's funny because The Kids Are Alright was the A side and The Ox was the B side. So
Oh, that's
two great
cool.
tracks in one.
Speaking of which, I never noticed it before. Have you noticed the similarities in "Illegal Matter" and "This Could Be the Last Time" by the Stones?
I didn't. I may have to listen to the two.
"Illegal Matter" is do 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 do, and the Stones one is do 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 do.
Oh my god! And you know what's crazy too is the Who actually covers Last Time, and it's
Oh yeah, I saw that on the deluxe version of "Sell Out."
I prefer the Last Time over the Stones version, but with Under My Thumb, I much prefer the Stones version.
Oh, the Brian Jones marimba is really what makes that song.
Exactly. Plus, what I loved about them singing those two songs was because that was around the time when they had the
The
drug
drug
bust,
bust.
and they're like, we don't want that. We gotta sing about that. We gotta sing two of their songs as protests. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool of them to do that.
I think they said they were going to record a Stones song a day until they let him out.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that. It was better that they made that one novelty single. Like
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it. It's just a novelty single, like of the times, like that, like artists
they
that
could
got.
have called it. They could have called the if they had done a full album, they could have called it "Who Are the Stones."
Hmm, that's actually interesting. It would have been interesting if they would have covered like either Aftermath or Between the Buttons. Those would have been two fun albums for them to
Yeah.
cover the entirety of. But
Can you imagine Roger singing "Ruby Tuesday"?
oh no, that's actually something that Stones
Actually,
would do.
yeah. I was just, like, as soon as I came out of my mouth, I'm like, you know what? That sounds more like a Townsend song to cover. But
Yeah,
Roger would definitely do like some of the other stuff on Between the Buttons, like
imagine
I
him
don't know, like
covering Miss
all
Amanda
sold. I can see him doing "All Sold Out."
and Miss Amanda Jones.
Yeah,
I wonder what Entwistle would sing if they would sing Between the Buttons.
Entwistle would probably sing "Cool, Calm, and Collected." And "Who's Been Sleeping?" No, not "Who's Been Sleeping Here." Something happened to me yesterday.
Yeah, like you'd be like kind of like how Keith Richards was on that song. Like
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, well
All
that's my
right.
number one.
My number one. No surprise, because the Beatles are my favorite band of all time. Rubber Soul. This is my third favorite Beatles album. It's a really great album. The second Beatles album I ever listened to, the first was Sgt. Pepper, and this was the second one, which actually I listened to like several years after I listened to Sgt. Pepper, because like I wasn't as big into albums. I listened to Sgt. Pepper, and like that kind of changed my perspective on albums. Then like several years later, I had to listen to Rubber Soul because I heard that was a good one. Um, Really great album. Starts off with "Baby You Can Drive My Car," Paul McCartney song. This is the thing about this album. I feel like anything before this album is more John Lennon led. Anything after, like Sgt. Pepper and after, is more Paul led. But Rubber Soul and Revolver are kind of Lennon and McCartney equal, like about the same number of songs for each of them. And that's what's really great about those two albums. Um, then we've got Norwegian Wood, kind of an interesting song. Who writes a song about burning down this lady's house? But the sound is cool, and George Harrison's sitar is really cool on that.
Isn't it good though? No,
I really like "You Won't See Me." That's a really good one. "Nowhere Man" is in like the S tier of songs on this album. Really good. I love the harmonies on that one. Just a really cool song. Think for Yourself is an early George Harrison song. I really like that one. My favorite part is Paul's fuzzed out bass on the song. That's a really good song. We got The Word. I like the piano on The Word. The do 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 do. I like the sound of that.
Groovy.
Uh, it is groovy. My friend Jeremy says he wants to see a mashup of The Word and Sympathy for the Devil for the Stones.
That'll be a weird matchup.
He said it was like doom doom boom doom boom 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 boom. Please allow me to introduce myself with the piano. Boom 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 boom. Anyway, Michelle, that's another amazing song. Paul McCartney kind of doing a French thing. Him and the guitar. Lovely song. Side 2, What Goes On. Ringo Starr singing lead vocal on that one. I don't hate this song. Like, it's not my favorite on the album, but I actually kind of like it. I like the country sound to it and the guitar licks on it. Girl, another great John Lennon song. I like when he goes, because like it's like when you're in love with the girl, like that's how you feeling. But I'm Looking Through You is another great McCartney song written about his girlfriend at the time. They were kind of on the verge of a breakup. In My Life is my favorite song on this album. My second favorite John Lennon song, actually, after Strawberry Fields Forever. I love the guitar riff on this one, and I really like how George Martin does the piano solo. Like, he played it really slow, and then they sped it up to make it sound like a harpsichord or something. Wait, that one's alright. If I Needed Someone is one of George's best songs. I like the bird sounding guitar riff on that. And then Run for Your Life is a very conflicting song for me because musically I really like it, but the lyrics are like kind of threatening, and it's like, what's going on here, John? But then I realized that he just took it. He took the hook from that song from an Elvis song and just kind of was like, let's make a song about that character. And so that's kind of where that came from. But like even Lennon said he hates this song and he should never have released it. But I just think it needs different lyrics.
Yeah.
But this is my UK mono copy. It was I got it for like I think like $50 or something like that. But it sounds really good. Other than the only problem with it is that Michelle sounds kind of distorted because there's a lot of scratches on Michelle, and
Yeah.
so it's not really clean sounding. But the rest of the record sounds great.
When John Lennon sings "Run for Your Life," I could just imagine like him doing the Springsteen dance while singing it. But, like I guess, like I had to see you there, little girl, like. like he's just doing a dance while everyone's playing their instruments, like, and then like them just looking at each other like, what is he singing?
It's like Paul. It's like one of those Beatles memes. It's like, what you got for today, first, John? Well, I've got a lovely song about a husband who's jealous because his wife, or no, it's a boyfriend. It's not even a husband; it's a boyfriend. So he really doesn't have any need to be jealous. And that's not a very good John voice, though.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. And then like Paul's like, oh sure, well, let's go through it.
Oh,
Then,
okay, John. Anything else for us? I've got a little lovely song called "It's Getting Better." You got any contribution to that? Oh, I've got this lovely line about beating your wife. Anyway, so that's top albums of 1965. So thank you guys for joining us. Recap: my number 3 was Beach Boys Today. My number 2 was Highway 61 by Bob Dylan, and my number 1 is Rubber Soul by the Beatles.
my number 3 was The Yardbirds for Your Love. Show it again. This is a must to listen to British Invasion artist album. Really good. Rubber Soul by the Beatles. We all expected us to put this one on number 1 or 2. And then My Generation by The Who would be my number 1 choice.
Cool. All right. Well, that's going to be it for today, guys. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we are ranking the 28 albums of the Beach Boys.
That thumbnail you made, though, is hilarious.
Yes. With the Beach Boys, the smile era, and the tent. And then Pryor like, but
I
that's
loved it.
I think we didn't agree though that we're not going to be doing very many more videos with that many albums because that was quite a bit, and those last few Beach Boys albums are really rough.
Yeah, I saw your community post. I agree. It is rough going through those. Like once you finish Love You, it's over, and everything else is just.
Well, for me, like after Holland, like 15 Big Ones, but then Love You is better, and then after that, it's like,
You know why they made 15 big ones? You
why?
can take a guess. So
Contractual obligation.
no. So the Capitol released all their music. Wait, I'll be back. I'll get it.
I my guess is that because I know that Brian was released from uh, like mental care then.
No. So Endless Summer came out with it's like a greatest hits from Capitol, and they
Oh,
started to become popular again from their surf sound, and they were like, well, we're getting money this way, so let's continue that and make 15 big ones.
uh,
That's the whole backstory. It's not because Brian came back or contract reasons. No, it's the big killer. What is this one?
okay. Oh,
Yeah, this is a really crappy copy. I have a better copy, but I just wanted to show you that this is the reason why
okay.
15 big ones was a thing.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for watching. We will see you later.
See ya.